Yeah. Toro, bass junkie, cut through it. Yeah. 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 Group chat jumping, same old drama. Screenshots, think pieces, recycle karma. Timeline loud, but the truth sound quieter. Mute half the world, now my head feel lighter. Crypto bag small, but the brain compounding. DCA faith when the chart flatlining. They sold dreams, Lambo win a month, quick flip. I want land, less rent, more ownership. AI talk at the table, late takeaways. Who code the rules, who choose the maze? They want our face, our voice, our data. We want our time back sooner, not later. Through the noise, let it fade in the background. Talk your talk real low, still surround sound. Same cold world, but the kettle stays on. My boys, soft light, deep chat, we just cut through the noise. Through the noise, let them scream in the scroll bar. We stay here long form, talking from the gold heart. Same my world, but we're calm in the void. Cup in hand, good friends, yeah, we cut through the noise.
Yo, and welcome to episode 2 of Cut Through the Noise, hosted by your boy Bass Junkie and Mr. Toro CEO. Guys, this is the show where we chop it up, all things bass, AI, and topical shit. No filter, just real talk. And that's what you can expect here. Guys, if you are interested in this conversation, if you enjoyed episode 1, if you are tuning in for the first time, show some love for the algo, because the algo is not our friend these days. If you can retweet and bookmark this and even comment on the show, hell, you delete that stuff afterwards. It doesn't matter to us. If you want to unbookmark it later on, that's up to you. But let Elon work for our bags, because the algo has been suppressing us. There has been a war against crypto, and we have Mr. Toro here, who is the crypto analyst, my quant, and my dev's dev. So without further ado, let's pass it over to my amazing co-host, Mr. Toro. How are you tonight?
Oh man, I'm blessed. I'm happy to once again partake on this journey with you, Bass Junkie, as we do these real talk conversations, keeping our people up to date with what's going on in the market and all the opportunities at hand. Definitely, it's never a dull moment in this environment. There's never a moment of silence. They would like to say, it's an ever growing thing, and I'm just really happy to be a part of it. Truly, man, definitely.
Well, dude, I'm happy to go on this this journey with you. Real talks. We've had a few heart to hearts on different platforms. We had real talk with Toro on the Fireside mini app, and we figured, you know what, we want this message to get out there to as wide of an audience as possible. So branching out into live streams, because hey, you're dripped out. Like let's get you behind the camera, man. So tell us, brother, what is it that you've been looking at this week?
Yeah, definitely been keeping a real big dial on Bitcoin. A lot of people haven't realized that Bitcoin is holding pretty strong in the mid 70 range, currently around $75,320. We're definitely seeing a lot of relief in this current rally, and it shows momentum to continue all the way throughout April and into May as it's setting up. So I'm very, very optimistic, short-term bullish. Overall, still believe that we're in a bear market. And this is a strong bounce for those that were scooping in and playing around from the 66K range until now. You're in the green, you're rolling in the dough. So I'm really happy about that. Definitely saw some opportunities across the board from Hyperliquid and so on. So yeah, we're seeing some type of relief, man. We're seeing some money rotate back into the shitters and the hitters and the big dogs and the blue chips, man. So that's pretty good for the short term turbulence, that we've
All
been
right,
experiencing.
let's dive into that a little bit. Where is it that you like to look at charts, like the Bitcoin charts?
Yeah. So I've been a member and a subscriber of TradingView for more than 10 years at this point. I always look at Bitcoin and US dollar pairings. It used to only just be Bitcoin pairings versus alts, but you know,
Are you able to share the screen or anything on any of these charts?
sure. Let me close out some of this stuff from a project that I'm working on.
Some of this porn.
Yeah, right. Let's share the screen. Let's do the
Yeah, I mean, honestly, where Bitcoin is at now, it's. I remember there was lots of talks about the monthly close. It needed to get closed above 72K, and we closed below it, which was kind of bearish. It's like, okay, maybe it's straight pain, but I guess in every bear there are relief rallies.
oh
So
yeah.
yeah, talk us through what we're seeing here a little bit more.
Yeah, so as you see that we lost this bullish momentum channel early around October. Obviously, we know that the top was around October 10th, give or take, which caused that landslide when the poisoning of the Oracle feeds. So we've been seeing a lot of stagnation and a lot of leg downs. What's really interesting about this is that now around this quarter of the year, cracking into Q2, that we're seeing some type of actual resistance, support that was formerly looked at as a resistance. So we're checking key estimated moving averages right now. This is actually the 3-week chart. I always try to get the microscopic or get surgical as possible, even to like, when I'm looking at the daily, I look at the 23-hour, for example. But if you look at, like, let's just say a 9-week chart, you're seeing that overall the bears still have control over the market. The bears definitely have some control of the market, and it's showing that this is just the beginning of the opening. So we definitely can see a realistic of 47,000 or lower for Bitcoin later this year. But as we look on a minor scope, you can see that we are going to see some relief. We can start getting rejected around 85K. But if we get a miracle pump, 95K is a bit pushing it. But around that, we won't see 100K. We definitely won't see 100K, but around that turbulence, we'll get a strong rejection to continue this onwards down. So it's the same thing across the board. If you look at all your leading, favorite blue chips, Ethereum had a horrific sell-off, way stronger than Bitcoin. But what is very interesting is I think we will see opportunity later this year, and don't quote me on this, where Ethereum starts outperforming Bitcoin. We're seeing the potential buying signal starting to form. We know that realistically, when we go to higher time frames, it's not enough a push. But I definitely see ETH. We all know Ethereum below 2,500 is a discount. It's a deal, and we're right under 25. We're at 2353 currently. I definitely see Ethereum coming down a little bit lower down before we actually see a predominant sale of probably 1,700. I don't see us going below 1,400 as a whole. So we can definitely go back and retrace out and see that around here we're, boom, like I said, around the 1,600 range. So that's going to be something to look out for this year, and which will be a treat for a lot of people. Anything from 16 to 19, around that big chunk of range. You don't want to always try to be surgical. It's very hard to time the market perfectly. It's literally impossible because in a manipulated environment. But if you're within the range of that chunk, you're in a good channel of buying position. So that's something that I'm looking out for the long term for that. But if you look at the total market outside of Bitcoin, outside of Ethereum and stable coins, you will see that alts are getting wrung out still. Even with this turnaround, you're probably seeing it with certain microscopic caps, certain flavors of the wheat that are showing more light than others. But even in the bullish sentiment short term, you can still see who has control. I don't see this as being a strong reversal. Why? Because when you zoom in, that is not a hammer doji. That has a small wick at the top. So this was not an even out. Maybe if we can push further and close on that note, I will probably be more convinced, but I don't see this as a strong reversal at all, unfortunately. But it definitely opens up more to the possibilities of the end of the year. And when you're including stuff that has partaken in the last series of the last 2 weeks, you can see why I'm not very bullish. You know, as we know, the sister chain of Ethereum, Polkadot, just got a nasty hack through their hyper bridge, which is a respectable team that's been well known for many years. Unfortunately, and the irony of that, Base Junkie, is on April Fool's Day, they joked about being hacked and having an exploit. 13 days later, it actually happened. So it makes you wonder, instead of them joking about it, could they been more focused on preventative measures? But
don't tempt fate.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tempt fate.
Don't tempt fate at all. That's how I see it. You know, it doesn't make sense to, you know, so definitely that's one thing I wanted to point out is like we have a lot of holes that need to be plugged up in the ship before we can stay afloat. And incidents like that, what happened on the drift protocol on Solana, all these major hacks that have just been frequently shown is because people are grabbing the cash while they still can, because they know that the market is getting a bit worse ahead of time. They got the intel, they got the experts, they're in the right circles, and they understand that we have way more bearish climate to go through before we think that this winter is over.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I think. Well, first of all, it's fascinating to see the granular level of TA that you're doing. If you want to go back to the charts, I would love to I'll ask some questions just because some of the time measurements you use aren't conventional.
No.
You know, like the 3-week chart, the 9-week chart. We've spoken before about this, but just for people that are tuning in for the first time or just learning about crypto, like just to break it down into layman's terms, why specifically are you using these time frames, and can you explain some of the convergences and different lines on the chart?
Yeah, so my style is not a well-known style of TA. I use JD Gone. A lot of people don't use Gone, but it's the science and the equation that proves that everything was made in a harmonic way. I don't like to go too off into the whole drifting of the spiritual beliefs of it, but it's basically the math that proves that God is real. That's what I see through this, because all the elements to the molecular structure all have a harmonic mathematical pattern that we all can reside to the electrons, to the atomic builds, etc. So with JD Gone, I use stuff that from the Gone tools, like a fan, for example. What you're seeing is a bunch of fans. So technically, to these degrees, I'm seeing natural resistance and supports and the motion and the nature of how raw candlesticks act. As you know, the market doesn't just go straight up. As you can see, it looks like a roller coaster going over hills when it's in a bullish settlement. And it's the same thing when you're taking a doozy down. It feels like you're at the top, boom, you hit some little turbulence, boom, you hit another turbulence, boom, down. That's exactly how raw candlesticks form. They don't just naturally go in one direction. There's always some type of opposing force that's enacting at simultaneously every time somebody's buying, someone is selling, vice versa, right? So all I'm judging is just each one of these estimated moving averages represent days, right? You got the 50-day moving average, the 25-day moving average, 21-day moving average. I don't use the natural conventional ones that a lot of people, will tell you on YouTube to use, I guess, traditionally training. For me, from my experience, I've learned to be more surgical and more accurate. Like, for example, and I will just keep it basic. Like, we go to the 1 day, right? The 1 day tells you that we're on a bullish sentiment. We're breaking through key resistance. Mind you, this is still in my Gone fan, right? So you can see that I'm actually, if you look at naturally the harmonic pattern, there was a line of support that turned into resistance. And you notice how the candlesticks works and hover around this line that was mathematically placed. I did not directly draw that. I just used math to place my components. As you can see, there is a breakout, short term and a breakout. So if I want to be more surgical, instead of using a 24-hour, use a 23-hour, right? The 23-hour gives me less noise. You want to move with less noise, because the validity, especially in crypto, is so high and so rambunctious and manipulated that a lot of noise can throw off traditional TA. A lot of things that you would apply to the traditional markets, the S&P, right, the SPY, you can't actually apply all of those. You can, but they won't have the same exact results of accuracy when it comes to something that's still very small and still very manipulated, such as crypto. I believe all
Quick
markets
question
are,
there. Quick question there. So, 20. Many people will say, "What's the difference between a 23-hour chart and a 24-hour chart?" Besides being just a couple percent away in terms of time frames, but what, like, how do you? Why is that an important distinction to you in terms of being surgical in your TA?
You never want to do what the masses do, because the market is attempting to trap the majority of the liquidity at all time. It's trying to cipher funds. It's an extraction tool. So if most normie traders are looking at turn time frames, the algorithm that you're competing and trading against knows this and is strategically implementing traps within these time frames. So by having a little head of the curve preview to kind of forecast what's happening, prediction, quote unquote, you're more than likely aiming to make a more accurate choice. I don't like to give away all my sauce, but this is just something very basic that if people start playing with, if you look at the 24-hour, a daily chart, and then in the same asset, look at 23 hours and click back and forth, you start seeing like, wait, there is some difference here. There is some formation here, especially when you're stalking a target on a day-to-day basis. You start seeing the breakout before the breakout actually is shown to most obvious, your average traders, right? Because majority of traders are losing in the market. That's how the market wins. That's how the market eats. That's how it operates. So by having these type of situations where you just have, even, when it comes to speed trading, milliseconds count. So if you can see a little bit better into the future to have a corresponding more accurate prediction, you're ahead of the majority of those that are heading to the slaughterhouse. And I believe and with Gone, when you start studying JD Gone, I look at other hours. I'll keep it within the 24-hour frame. I look at the 3 hour versus the 1 hour, right? I look at the 6 hour versus 4 hours. I look at the 9 hour, right? I go by this 369 mathematical pattern that I have seen throughout the universe and through life, and I apply it to my trading. I also use that in a combination of how would I say this? It's a geometrical measurement of forecasting, right? It's like most people know it as sacred geometry, right? Everybody has their own techniques. Some people use the clouds or emoji. I forget the name. Emoju. I can't even say the name. Or Bollinger Bands. Numerology. I use JD
Moon cycles.
moon cycles. I've seen, people correlate the rise and falls of Bitcoin correlating to where the moon is positioned and what phase is in. It's a lot of ways to go about it, but at the end of the day, it's all just proving, if it's legit, that we're all tied through these invisible lines of harmonic patterns of math, numbers, right? If I could give you a better lens to look at the world, you'll probably see a bunch of numbers or symbols and everything that's made up around you, right? Kind of like how when people want to say like a simulated or a sandbox situation, you can see that at
A
the
matrix.
breakdown of an insect to a Homo sapien. Like
Mm.
there are harmonic patterns that we all reside from mathematically, and if with enough data of what's ongoing in the present and what has transpired, it increases your chance of forecasting the future. So yeah, I hope I'm
Yeah.
not like tripping people out with that.
I mean, like we're both wearing hats. We both have our tinfoil hats underneath our caps.
Yeah,
But honestly, like, it's an interesting thing to like. It feels like weed talk. Like it feels like the conversation that I would go down for like several hours and just like pontificate over.
yeah,
Just because he didn't really. us as humans rarely have time to like stop and think about the you the correlations or the causations that had just like just the the things that happen in life that just seem by chance.
Hmm.
Like for example, I mentioned before moon cycles, right?
Hmm.
I don't avidly watch it, but when I've seen the correlation, it's like, well, how how does that even like make sense? It's kind of wild to even like comprehend, but something's happening. Maybe it is these invisible lines. Maybe that's why some people think we live in the Matrix. But
Well, we definitely had an architect, whoever created this. Definitely the sophistication and the clues that are right in front of our eyes. It definitely tells a lot. So whether this is what it is, or Matrix, or whatever it is, it's definitely more to life than what we realize. Um, it's all about perception and knowing the right information, being accessible to the right information, and what you do with it. So yeah, 100%, no, definitely.
what you said earlier about looking at different time frames. I think like different time frames to the masses. I think that's actually a really um, astute point, and I really like
Hmm.
I think that was a smart observation because I remember when I was first getting into crypto in 2017, meeting somebody who'd been around the block, been in it for a while, and they were basically saying, just like whatever you're feeling, do the opposite. If you're feeling like it's going to 10x from here, it might be a top. If you're feeling euphoric, if you're like, I've got the secret ticket, it's probably time to sell. And when it hurts to even hold, when it hurts like to even have it, that's
Yeah.
probably the time to buy. So the fact that like counter emotional trading is a historically has proven to be a pretty successful strategy, but then also doing what is unconventional slash against the masses has proven to be the right course of action, because at the end of the day, crypto Twitter, love it. It's where it's a melting pot of conversation, and I mean, it's been hindered in more recent times,
Right.
but you know it's where dialogue happens for the most part. But unfortunately, if you get in your source from Twitter, you're pretty late to the party. Like
Super
it's
late, dude.
yeah, that's not where you get the intel, the alpha. Once it's like becomes common knowledge, it's probably time to like look for retracements.
100%. 100%. Um, I try to like not allow my emotions to pour into my decisions when it's time to take profit. Like, and that's why you should always have these shell shock rules, these rules to insulate, or like, kind of slow down that euphoric feeling of greed, right? It's just like you get hooked on that moment, that dopamine, and it's like you feel like it's never going to stop. You just keep thinking. I just had one of our a good friend made enough money to sit down for a while, stop going to their job, right? And did not offload the bag in time.
Hmm.
Now it backfired. Now they gotta now not only work, but they gotta work more now because they took too much time off already counting their ducks before they were already hatching, just already counting them out. And it's very unfortunate, but it's like when you're seeing these numbers on your screen and instead of your bank account, it still does something to you to make you have this false feeling of security, right? And it's not the
100%.
reality of it. Hmm.
100%. I mean, greed is a hell of a drug. It's got me in the past before, and I've shared the story a couple of times. Got some inside information on a Trump coin, not the Trump coin, but one preceding it
Hmm.
was up maybe a half a mil in 6 hours. Man, made a full round trip, and I ended up being down 50 grand, and I was
Wow.
just like, sick to my stomach because it's like, what, like, why? Yeah, I had a my source gave me a text saying they're going to make this official in the next 15 minutes, and then brother Trump, Eric Trump, tweeted saying, "Hey, nothing is official
Yeah.
until it comes from us,"
It's
and
not
then it
official.
literally just went fell off a
Just like
cliff.
that. Yeah,
And
you never know, bro. It comes
yeah,
in different ways, man. Like I remember the whole Voyager Digital situation. I had over 2 million staking in that platform. And the CEO comes over and says, "Hey, everything is fine, everything's okay." The same day that you can't withdraw your money anymore. So it's like, when is it enough? When you think about it, I put 2M up to get about what, 20K a month in returns. They were just slowly giving me back my money. Like, if I did the math and looked at it accordingly, how long would it have taken for me to even break even before I actually started getting free money? You know, um,
so
and
10
then you
years.
realize it's not worth it. So it's like lessons to be learned when you're in these positions. But if you've never had this type of money before, and you're not surrounding yourself with people that are vastly experienced with maneuvering and handling money like at that level, mistakes will be made. Mistakes definitely will be made. But one thing I've learned is that just as fast as you lose it, you can make it all back. If you did it once, you can do it twice, you can do it 3, 4 times. So that's one thing that I've carried every cycle at this point, because every cycle I end up on my feet. And a lot of
Yeah,
people just gotta understand, like, the theme of this year is just to survive. This is not a year to expect a bull run. This is not a year to expect a crazy breakout. The theme of this year is to survive. Adjust to your environment, adjust to the market, prepare and increase your purchasing power to strike when the time is right. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. I'm just telling you what I understand from the nature of being in this game for over 14 years at this point. Um, yeah, you have to remove the emotions and just keen in on some type of code that you develop that you got to live by and apply it when the things are good or bad, you know?
100%.
Yeah,
Failing to plan is planning to fail.
1000%.
So, you know, I think the conversation on greed and just emotion, it gets the better of all of us, and unless you are disciplined and live by rules, and unless you follow through on those those plans, we're just feathers in the wind. But you're still sharing screen. Are you? Are you?
I'm just checking other coins to see where they're at. I wanted to also give a shout out and congrats to Ethereum, our ecosystem overall, because why? We just, for the first time, have passed over 200 million transactions in a quarter of a year. In our quarterly reports, overall, Ethereum has surpassed over 200 million. This is the first time ever. And it looks like from the data, a lot of it is attributed to AI microtransactions. So this is really starting to become like a serious push now that we're seeing. Even base outperformed Sol by 13.8 times the amount of volume just by the frictions of micro transactions, just dealing with agents. This is letting me know that the AI e-commerce scene is fire hot. And people are going to be not only tailoring the internet to human beings now, but they're going to be tailoring it to something that's artificial as well. 100%. You know,
Yo, quick shout out to Bill. He's like, "Yo, Torres doxed, bro. He was on our show, man.
bro, what's wrong with Bill, bro? I was on y'all show like 2 times.
Man, it must
I
be it
remember
must
the first
be
time that's
it, mu-
why I knew, like, bro, people have such a crazy narrative for like view of me. Cause I remember, if you remember the first time I showed myself on camera, like, I'm coming in because I've been on camera a million times. He was like, there we go. There we go. Like, yeah, I was worried you weren't going to show your face. I'm like, damn, like, do I give a criminal vibe, my boy? Like, it's crazy, but
no,
nothing,
dude,
nothing is good.
I
Nothing
said
is
I
good.
remember saying to you on like a group call, I was like, "Yo, dude, this is the first time I've seen your eyes." Yeah, because
Yeah,
you come with your coming hot with your brothers.
yeah, man. Prada's Tom Ford. I got Tom Ford's on today, but yeah, man. One of these guys got to sponsor me. All these damn glasses I done bought over the years, man. Somebody got to sponsor me at some point.
Yeah, maybe Lululemon with the fit.
That might work. You know, that might work. The ladies love Lululemon for some reason. I have no idea why. Like you can get the same pants on Amazon, probably better quality for 1/4 of the
Oh,
price.
bro. I mean, like you're not swooning any girls, but like, yo, I got these nice Amazon pants.
Like, these are Lulu Limes. You know, like
Lululemon.
these are Louis Limes right here. But not definitely, man. Um, it's just one of those things. But yeah, man, definitely. I want to definitely get up with Bill. You know, it's been a while. It's been a while, so I definitely would like to support what he has going on. He's streaming like 4 times a week from
Yeah,
what
Bill's doing fantastic these days. Yeah, I think for a lot of people in this bear market, it's like, especially with like the pivots on the base app,
yeah.
and just the the exodus, and like exodus of people leaving crypto, and just, yeah, all eyes are on OpenClaw, and then Nikita, banning accounts and all this stuff. It's just been like
Oh
such
my god.
it's just been such turbulent times. It's like, shit, like as a crypto content creator on base, when the czar of X is literally a Solana advisor, is like where do we as individuals find product market fit? Like how can we grow and move and just, expand to the next level? But I think Bill's really found his niche. Is calling with the AI move. It's like it's hot, white hot right now, and
Okay.
Bill has a great platform, and he's a fantastic host. So definitely bullish on Bill, and I would love for you guys to connect something in the future regarding Swiper, everything that you guys are building, because I I'll say honestly, I feel base app. I feel base through in the towel too early. I
Yeah.
feel base through in the towel too early with the whole base app narrative, the being the everything app. You know, in January it was feedback season. People said, "Listen, guys, you're forcing a square peg down a circle hole, and we don't want to coin everything. We don't think Zora doesn't even care." And that was the problem with them. But that's one business.
But it's kind of like this is how I know there's a huge disconnect between the office side of crypto and the actual trenches that these people say that they are for and working with. Like, if you knew the reputation of the Zora team, Jacob and the boys from previous projects, you would know that they don't give a shit about any of us and they just want M's and they print M's like nothing. They've never been pro crypto, they've been pro dollars the whole time. The whole time, if you do your research, from the Dream platform that failed. There is a lot of shit that they don't even talk about anymore, and I'm like, I wonder why. But at the same time, it's like mismanagement. You know, you rather give these guys because they seem like they have motion more money and realizing that it's a grift in the end. Versus true builders that are actually in the trenches that you're seeing that you're advocating for, they would just need a fraction of that money and look what they'll do for your, like, look what they're doing for free just for in hopes to get people's attention, right? And
Mhm.
it really is troublesome. So I definitely look at base saying base, they know they fucked up, they know that they misspent their money, they know they gave it to the wrong people, and it was a free for all, bro. People were getting optimism grants, all retro pays, and like, where did that money go, right? Where was the validation level to say like, all right, these guys are real builders and they deserve this, and not only are we going to cut them a check, we're going to bring them in and incubate to make sure that we get a return on this, whether it's a direct return of profit or just the expansion of our ecosystem in some beneficial way or some technological revolution that's spearing forward. Like, they didn't give a shit about that. It was all about how do we turn this thing into another Solana pump fund situation. Like, how do we get that volume? And that was the wrong barrier. understanding that that's not Base's role. Base already has their brand trust. They already have the foundational image. So all you have to do is just highlight groundbreaking technology and let the M's and the B's print. So it's very disappointing to see what they did over there. And I don't blame them for saying, you know what, throw in the towel. It's better to throw in the towel now before you keep leading us through the chopping block, especially in a bear market where you know returns are going to be very sour and very low.
Man, but on that last point is where I disagree, because I feel like they did throw in the towel. I feel like not just throwing in the towel. I feel like they threw out the baby with the bathwater, because I think we can both agree on that Zora was a bit of a poison chalice, and they were allured to the side of coining everything, and this was like the fifth attempt from the Zora team to like find product market fit. But at the end of the day, if a duck doesn't walk, you just have to cut your losses. Like, this is a lame duck, and that's what Zora was. Even me as somewhat of a quote unquote content creator, trying to create content on Zora, trying to just sort of toe the party line and just be like, okay, look, this is the direction we're going. Let's embrace it. What's the point of building, a wall out of sand when the tide is coming in? It's inevitable. I literally thought it was at a point that Zora was too big to fail, too ingrained in the base ecosystem. But January, people said, we don't want Zora. That was it. It was honestly, Nick Shirley was the big catalyst, because that was the big opportunity to make it make sense. Because
That's the problem. Like that alone is the problem. Thinking that Nick Shirley is your answer in any form of fashion.
but to be honest, it would have been anybody. It was like, we just need a unicorn creator on Zora platform, because until then Jesse was the biggest creator, and before that, Bill was one of the top 10, and 11 AM C Club, just a few
The founder
projects,
should not be the number one creator.
I mean, but exactly. But like Nick Shirley,
should not even be looked at as
he
a
was
unicorn.
he was the first he was the first unicorn opportunity to okay, look, this guy has momentum. He's the hottest thing on X. He has more views than anybody that's not called Mr. Beast. Let's fucking push him. And what happened? Zora's out of office, Base is out of office. Nothing. This literally firework just went flat, and then everyone was like, "What the actual? You told us to wait for this, and you were on vacation." It was so infuriating. And then the lack of response from the Zora team, and just the ambivalence to the community of creators, not even retweeting stuff, give Nick, not Nick Shirley, but Nick on Base a retweet, or give Bill a retweet, give was it Docker, give Docker a retweet, do something. These guys are literally, give Creator DAO a retweet. Guys, literally, you don't need a genius for this. You just need to give someone on your social media. You need an intern to just retweet and give some visibility to the top creators, and they did none of that. And I think, going to your point earlier about being grifters and in it for the M's versus the community, the fact that there was such a disconnect on that team with the community of creators, and then just jumping ship to Solana, getting in with the big wigs, getting tweets from Solana Foundation themselves, and then no one using it. The top product was 30K market cap. It's they know how to schmooze the boardrooms, but they don't know how. They don't give a shit or care about
good strategy overall, man. After you're seeing core leaders of Solana Foundation publicly, time and time again, talk shit about Base, and just because y'all do one little public image and saying y'all patched it up, you're dealing with people that knife people on a regular. Solana side is very dicey. So of course they're going to shake your hand. Of course they're going to set a table with you. You're bringing Circle. You're bringing JP Morgan. You're bringing stable coins on their chain 100%. And you're listing their token so they can make M's. Of course. But at the end of the day, you think that those guys respect Jesse? You think those guys respect Base? No, they don't. They see them as adversaries. And they're not going to actually help them truly. It was all a one-sided thing. So when the trenches of Base was confused why Coinbase was listing so many Soul tokens instead of the Base tokens that we've all been putting our money into, we understood what the bigger play was. They wanted to figure out how to crack this code on the sauce. How can they let the degens come over into Base? And the Solana Foundation knows that clear as day is a Trojan move. It's a vampire attack. They understand that. It's chess, not checkers. So honestly, I felt that Base by cutting off the whole creator coin situation for now is the best thing for them, because you're going down a death spiral. Let Zora figure it out. Let Zora and that team start regaining whatever they need to do. The creator situation, they should have never discontinued it. They should have just understood that, hey, we're going to take a different direction and not put too much emphasis and resources behind this anymore. But at least let it still be out there thriving for a chance for it to actually grow in the next cycle. I feel that they're going to reintroduce things later on, and probably say like, I was ahead. They were ahead of the times, or maybe not, because it's very hard for them to try to get that thing going again, especially if they don't know what exactly.
No, man, they've completely burned all bridges. I think Zora's heading to zero, unless they change the name, change the leadership, and like.
It doesn't matter, bro. That team is straight, bro. They're gonna make another product. They're good at making other products. They're. This is what they do. They don't care actually about Zora. Like Zora was just an extraction. Like it was just what it is. Like
maybe, but I feel like the like I never root for people to fail, but I just feel like it was such a slap in the face. I'm not giving them the time of day just on principle alone. And I think a lot of people actually have that visceral reaction when it comes to Zora. But and I don't think removing all social features was necessary from the base app. They could have removed the creator coins or done just carved out that Zora part, but then kept the conversations alive. You can't even post on base app anymore. You can't post on base app right now. To get a post onto base app, you need to go to Farcaster, make your post, and then it'll be visible on base app. It's like, what's that about? That doesn't make any sense, to be honest.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't really speak on it, because I'm not in the inner circle. I'm not by the water cooler. I just know that they're trying to now switch into focusing on AI and try to see if they can get a footing there.
They should focus more heavily on that. Right now, the latest I saw was the focus on trading and trading with friends. So if you're not on the base app, use a ref link. The person who referred you gets 25% on your trades, and then you get a 10% discount.
I wonder how long that's going to last, because 25% is not a sustainable number. So I wonder how long. But then again, they got so much money they can keep it going for a while if they really.
I think it is sustainable if the pie is big enough, because if you think about it, they're getting 1% fees, which is higher than the majority. But if the true number they're getting, if it's minus 10% for the user, so that's 0.9 fees minus 0.25, then they're getting 0.65% fees on all transactions, and whoever referred people is getting some of it, and like you're just getting the feeling of a discount by using someone else's ref link.
I mean, yeah, cool, man. Let's see how that works. They're trying to figure. It still feels like they're trying to hold on to that idea of like make trading a social experience, and it's like there's a huge disconnect, man, because you're not putting it in an attractive model that people can reciprocate, and it's like you're trying to force something that doesn't fit. But I get it. Back to basics, back to what Coinbase. knows that they're good at being a trading platform. So it makes sense that the base app is just an extension of that at this current moment. The everything app situation, I don't see it happening for them right now. Um, and I don't know what they're going to do, but I think that the next big plays that we see, if any attempts for the base app to update or evolve, is just going to be agentic. It's going to be focused on X402s, that type of situation, micropayments. So they're bypassing human beings, I feel, to a degree. But whatever it brings in the volume, it's a renaissance mode right now. So a lot of things are moving constantly, a lot of variables. Why one is going left, another one's going right. So yeah.
To be honest, it's an interesting point that, like bypassing humans, because as builders on base, like, who should we be targeting? Like, who should we be building for? Like, building for other AI models, other AI agents, I mean, or building for humans? Like where do you see the volume potentially being in the next 6 months?
AI agents. They're following suit to Ethereum Foundation. Ethereum has been focusing on what? Allowing autonomous agents to run while on the chain, to launch smart contracts, to choose what routes of MCPs they need and APIs they need to pull. Like it's getting to that point, and everybody's doing it. So I don't blame Base for following suit with Ethereum, because like they've always stressed that Base is Ethereum. I feel that the best move for them is to become a layer one eventually. But that's just my opinion. But there's a lot going on for them at this point. They no longer are relying on Optimism's architectureship. They are now standing on their own, and I think this is all gearing up for their token, their airdrop. But I definitely see the summer is going to be fried. The only thing you're probably going to hear about is AI and prediction markets, like for the summer. I don't see anything new or emerging coming out. There's a little bit of talk right now, like for example, Justin Sun, he just announced with Tron that they're rolling out the quant plans. So they're already getting ready for quantum attacks, quantum hacks. They're trying to be quantum resistant. They're trying to focus on that. So we'll definitely see that more of a talk, because a lot of quant talk is circling around Bitcoin and how safe and secure Bitcoin will be in those environments. So I think that's going to be the only thing else. Outside of that, RWAs are RWAs. DeFi is still going to be DeFi. So I don't see another meta right now currently that's going to be bigger than the whole agentic movement that's going to jumpstart anything for our ecosystem right now.
Man, the stuff about quantum computing, like it's around the corner. It's scary for the crypto industry, but if the hacks are what people predict, like, it's scary for the entire civilization. Like, banking systems, everything is susceptible to being hacked at that point. So I don't even know where we go at that point, if it actually manifests into what we perceive it could be.
Yeah, just got to develop quantum resistance, man. It's just like, there's no matter every great breakthrough in forms of technology will be abused by, it'll be used and abused. Good people use it, bad people use it, quantum resistance. So I rather see signs of a block of an ecosystem already gearing up for future attacks than being reactive. I want to see proactivity, not I want to see you being proactive versus reactive, because when you're reacting, it's too late. The damage is already done, and the only thing you can do is just put out a tweet about and a quick thread to keep people's spirits high for 5 seconds. I'd rather see you getting ready for battle, for war, being battle tested, because it's going to get crazy and it's going to get shaky out there. Once hackers get their hands on that type of source of tech, it's going to get rampant. You're going to start seeing wallets that were locked for years instantly emptied, because the core dev team did not keep up the pace, So it's a turning of the page. I don't think that we're close yet, because every time they say that we're getting close to the realm of quant, somebody outpaces that and creates something that's way more harder to comprehend. So it's a toss up right now when it comes to
It's an interesting conversation and definitely a rabbit hole that we could dive down,
yeah.
but it's something that we need to keep present in our minds. I mean, at the end of the day, like the technology, we're not quite there yet with the technology in terms of development slash resistance making.
Mhm.
I think there's going to be some turbulent times where it comes out, and before anything is patched, any like bugs or resistance is created.
Yeah,
Like at the end of the day, like it's typically like the virus comes out, and then the antivirus is developed using that. So
exactly.
just I don't know, we just need to ride it out. But you mentioned before like it's AI markets, prediction markets. Let's have a look at some prediction prediction things that are um trending right now. So currently using Swiper.xyz.
Mhm.
So will Claude Opus 4.6 thinking be the top AI model on April 17th? Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know.
Wait, I mean, like this is interesting though because I thought they're launching Opus 4.7.
Yeah, Opus 4.7. That's just what we're doing is seeing a curated feed that's already on other pre-existing predictions. So if I'm correct, this is coming from Polymarket.
Mm-hmm.
Opus, we're actually supposed to get Mythos. We're supposed to get Mythos, but we for some reason Mythos is only being given to selected users right now that have access to it. So they just now all of a sudden from the recent and this happened, the announcement of Opus 4.7 just recently happened. So this has just been a one that's been in a sitting out there for a while, so it should be settled soon. Yeah.
All right, let's check some other ones. Will Ruben Radif? Let's have a look.
And you can
Will
also go to the market section to see a full blown. So this is the swipe left, swipe right section. But if you go to the sidebar right there and you
mm-hmm,
see right below the home, you see
mm-hmm.
those bars right there. That's the market. So, you can see more of the trending topics and whatnot, the features of that, you know.
This is interesting. Like, do you like how often do you like place market bets?
I've been getting into predictions for a while now, honestly. So, this is a mixture of me and my team's feedback because a lot of our team and our friends are into predictions. So we're trying to custom tailor it to what we feel that these prediction markets are missing and to optimize on any opportunities. So, for example, you're not seeing all the wagers on Polymarket, Kalshi, Limitless, etc. You're seeing a curated feed of the most profitable wagers. And then on top of that, you're using tools to increase your chances of choosing and predicting right. So, as you can see, we're adding a couple more prediction markets as well to take advantage of arbitrage movements, copy trading on all these platforms from elite traders, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, man, this is just a quick, easy, formidable way to actually place wagers for the common man and woman that feel like these sites are overwhelming. They don't know where to go. We're trying to make it as simple and as easy for people to make profit, to make money on our platform. So yeah.
To be honest, one thing that I like about it, and yeah, obviously, like I like the UI and these other features, but being in Portugal, Polymarket's banned here.
Mhm.
Like they blocked Polymarket maybe a month or two ago because they were concerned about election interference and just rigging.
Mhm.
Because yeah, these international markets get so lucrative. They were just it was pros and concerns. So they banned Polymarket, but you know, I don't want to bet on the Portuguese presidency or who's going to be prime minister. I want to see
Right.
that. I want to like I want to see like what is the market sentiment on different topics, whether to place a bet or just to know like where the consensus is.
Mhm.
So this actually like puts it into like very like simple terms, uh, and just a nice UI as well to check it out.
Yeah, big time. And then you also got the news feed, so that keeps you up to date, and it also shows you all relatable wagers for the current events. So
So is newsfeed is that this? No, that's okay.
it was the home button.
Okay.
Just give it a second, and then you got all those topics that you can cover. But yeah, man, this is like because you're getting or leading world news from all around the world, not just from one region. So
That's a
it's
lot,
all
man.
it's not a one-sided thing. So you may see like a back-to-back because one news forum just dropped a bunch of articles right now in their time frame, and you
Mm-hmm.
go click another topic and see others. But you're getting an unbiased feed of news, like what true journalism is. And this affects predictions in live time because predictions are popping out all the time based on what's going on in the world. So if you're getting that edge of speed, information, and AI assistance to accurately make predictions, it's a win. It's definitely a win.
Bullish, man. Well, let's circle back to this maybe next episode. We can talk about some more uh, current news topics and stuff next week. But yeah, dude, as we're drawing close to the hour mark, um, let me just give you a little update with what's going on with me and Fireside.
Let's do it.
So, as you know, Fireside is the since before On Chain Summit last summer, the goal was sparking conversations on the base app, creating a alternative option to Twitter Spaces, especially as like the call quality was getting worse, people getting rugged, all this stuff. Like as somebody who's hosted several spaces myself, and I know you have as well, seeing some of like the typical pain points of just hosting a group call, a spaces, a presentation, a room for projects to give their to expose, know that was our goal. But when Bayside made the pivot away from microphone access, we had to pivot as well. And so last week I had a call to action to the community saying like, "Hey guys, help me reach out to Rish, the CEO of Farcaster." And man, the base community came through. That post went semi-viral, and Rish got back to me, and he was like, "Yo, yeah, let's have that interview." So that's actually happening tomorrow night at 8 p.m. GMT, 1 hour earlier than this show. So
Wow.
whatever honestly, man, I have to give props to the community for showing in force and just believing that freedom of speech is something worth protecting, and that this encroachment that's been happening on Twitter, this banning of so many projects, so many builders, it's not right. It's not right. It's an abuse of power, to be
Yeah.
honest. So you know and also, a lot of them are paying subscribers. Somebody DM'd me saying like, "Hey, I'm paying for premium and I can't cancel it because my page has been my thing's been suspended and I can't log
Oh
into the
my God.
cancellation page." I'm like, "Man, what an absolute grift!" But
That
anyway,
sucks. Okay.
yeah, that's like not a fun place to be. But tomorrow, 8 p.m. GMT, uh, midday, noon. PST, I'll be doing a 30-minute interview with Rish, the CEO of Farcaster, which will basically be, you a conversation of, what is the future of Farcaster in 2026, the importance of decentralized social media, and the importance of, and basically showcasing the importance of having a Spaces application. So this is our one shot, one opportunity.
Exciting times, man. Make Fireside be the staple for audio communication on the app, man. For It's going to be a major move, man. So I definitely feel that's going to be a good thing. And you're definitely gonna have my support, and everybody else is showing up. So I mean, it's gonna be major. That's gonna be a crazy. That's a big pull.
It wouldn't be possible by myself. I have to give kudos to everybody who retweeted, commented, tagged Rish, all that stuff, because us as a community, we can move mountains. We're small, but we're fierce, and we're dedicated, and we're building, and we support each other. And I always say, a rising tide raises all ships. So this could be one small win for Fireside, but one big win for freedom of speech, crypto communities, in actually getting their messages out there on a different platform that is more hospitable to builders.
I love it, man. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Big opportunities ahead. Yeah, like when one door closes, another one opens, man.
Yes, brother. That's it. We like, honestly, crypto isn't for everyone. I've aged like fruit in the past couple of years. Like I aged like fruit in the sun.
Drying out.
That's it. I mean, I've got all these grays. I blame it on the wife and the kids, but it's the markets, man. I'll tell you. But
it definitely ages you fast, man, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you're actually like 16 years old. I'll
be able to drink soon, man.
All right, bro. Let's put a nice ribbon on this, and let's run it back next week. But before we close it out, do you have any final words or calls to action?
Yeah, man, definitely show up for the interview tomorrow with Base Junkie and the CEO of Farcaster. Definitely give Swiper a look. That is swipr.xyz. And don't over leverage in this market. Don't let emotions take over. Walk from and move from a logical and sensible position in this market, man. Thank you guys for the opportunity for tuning in.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Don't forget to stay based, though. You gotta say that.
Absolutely. So, guys, I want to say a big thank you to you, Toro, for dropping the insights and the alpha as always. And a big shout out to everybody who tuned in today. We are hosting these shows every Thursday night at 1 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. GMT. So until next time, we'll see you on tomorrow's Fireside. But until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, but most importantly,
stay based.
Stay based. Peace out, everyone.
Peace.
I'm a baseline junkie. I'm a baseline junkie. Tell him again. I'm a baseline junkie. Tell him again. And I like it funky.